y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I am going to be talking to you about self-care. So stick around. Today's video is in collaboration with Shauna over at Homegrown Homeschool and Devine at Calm in the Chaos. I have both of their channels linked below. I also will have the playlist for all of the other moms who are sharing their self-care tips, thoughts, all the things. So be sure to go check them out once you have watched my video. I am going to start this video by reading a little bit of M is for Mama by Abby Halberstadt, because I think she just says it so well. And it really resonated with me. What she says in this book really resonated with me. And it really made me I've already been kind of on this kind of similar thought process. But just to read it, it just kind of solidified some of kind of my own thoughts and feelings. And she says it so well. And yeah, so I have gone through and I've kind of highlighted a little bit that I want to read to you guys first, because I think it's important to understand this type of context and kind of I share similar thoughts on self-care, and then I will share with you guys kind of some of my tips that I have. So in this particular book, chapter 5, if you do not have this book, I cannot suggest it enough. It is phenomenal. It has been, I don't want to say life-changing, but like kind of. But chapter 5 is self-care versus soul care. And she says, of the messages being trumpeted the loudest in our culture, and not just in the arena of motherhood, there are few more insistent than that of the alluring siren of self-care. She's a marketing genius, and she has saturated practically every form of media from advertising to radio. I can't walk into a coffee shop, turn on the TV, open a magazine, stand in line at the grocery store, or scroll through more than 3 social media posts without being inundated with suggestions like, you deserve a break, girl you need, treat yourself, whatever makes you happy, prioritize me time. It's never wrong if it makes you feel good. Self-care is soul care. There are various problems from a biblical perspective with each of these statements, but that last one really trips me up, and not because I completely disagree with it either. Self-care can be soul care, but it matters very much how we define self-care. And I can tell you right now that almost none of the ways the above sources categorize self-care will line up with Scripture, which makes it a no-go for me and for any other Christian mama seeking to prioritize the voice of Jesus above even the loudest, most compelling mantras of our current culture. Then she says, clearly, Christ-like self-denial is a thing. However, devotion to Christ is not the same as neglecting your basic needs or choosing to be a martyr at the detriment of yourself and your family. Not getting enough sleep when you have the option of getting it, not taking a shower when you need one, not reading a book that would be beneficial and enjoyable to you, not exercising when it would improve your mood and health if you could fit it in. None of this is an example of holiness or godliness. And I think that's important to point out. The point is not give up everything that you need in order to sacrifice yourself for the needs of everyone. There, to me, has to be a little bit of a happy balance. Then she goes on to say, still, the core truth of his words ring true. So she's talking about George Mueller and things like that. So she says, still, the core truth of his words ring true. The busier we get, the more we need the Lord. Of course, if you're anything like me, the more hectic the day ahead, the more likely you are to skimp on prayer at the outset in hopes that you'll manage to get a whole lot of praying without ceasing in while being productive. More often than not, this works out pretty well, actually. I pray for my kids while I treat stains on their laundry, for my husband while I'm scrubbing the bathroom nearest his home office, for my friends while I prep for our workouts, for my whiny attitude while I chop vegetables for dinner, and for the state of the world as I compose an Instagram post. I am certainly not perfect at it, but I do find that when I am more intentional to, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let my requests be made known to God, Philippians 4:6, I am more grounded, less stressed, more peaceful, and less entitled. And that rings true for me as well. Again, it's a little bit of a change of an attitude. I have found that there are more often times that this is the way that I am. I am just currently in a season that, for what I'm used to and what I prefer, I'm a little more busy. So I tend to not have hours in the morning that I can just sit and pray and just have one-on-one time. It's really more while I'm doing other tasks. And that's really just kind of how I'm wired. And it is something that I need to work on. I need to work on learning to sit in stillness, and making that specific time. But as I'm working on that, I am still trying to facilitate that relationship and grow that relationship while I am doing other tasks. And also, there are a lot of times where I have to stop what I am doing and say, Lord, please give me some patience. Lord, would you please just give me some calm my spirit, whatever it is, because if you don't step in right now, I might lose it, And I think that's very real, especially being home with children. You have those moments where, like, if you don't do something, I'm gonna do something. And what I'm gonna do is not what you would want me to do. So I'm gonna need some help. Just a couple other little things to kind of round it all out here. I am all for leaping at the chance for any moments of rest that present themselves. Denying ourselves such gifts is pure foolishness and leads to burnout. Jesus understood this. It's why he took great pains to prioritize the true self-care of soul care with the Father. However, he never adopted an attitude of bitterness or resentment when his plans were foiled by the needs of everybody. And that, dear friends, is quite the tricky line to walk. After all, Jesus was God and man, yes, but a sinless man. So what hope do I, a sinful woman, have of emulating his perfect example? The answer is no hope at all without the transforming power of the Holy Spirit, a transformation that is only possible when I prioritize soul care over self-care. Different things will re-energize different people, and many things that bring us joy and rest, even the seemingly frivolous ones, do so because the Lord has designed in us such a way as to enjoy them to their fullest. They are one small part of every good and perfect gift that is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. That's James 1:17. The real trick is learning how to truly appreciate those moments of gifted goodness without making them an idol, while prioritizing time with the gift giver. So as I said, she says it so well. It resonates so well with me. It's hard for me to take that and sum it up in my own words and all the things. So I thought I would just read it straight from the source, because that's where I'm at. Now, I have never been a person who, like, I've never been a person who, like my mom, for example, part of her self-care is every month she goes and gets a manicure and a pedicure. That's just a thing for her. She probably has other things that she does, on more of a regular basis, but that's just her thing. That's what she likes to do. That's not a thing for me. It's not. I mean, quite honestly, the last time, I did get a pedicure a couple of months ago because she was requesting that I go, and she wanted to pay for a pedicure. So I was like, fine, I'm not against it. It's just, if that's the thing you want to do, fine. Prior to that, it had been years because that's just not my thing. Um, and that has what I find self-care in is it seems like it's so minimal. I have grown, and this has been such a process. Like this, I can see the Lord working in me in this area because I never, when I was a new mom, trying to navigate that was very difficult. Because I didn't have a lot of people that I knew that were in my situation. I didn't have anybody that, or I didn't have a lot of people that had stayed home with their child. And so they didn't really know. It was always just like, okay, well, good luck, or, go take a breather, or, it just wasn't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I can't pinpoint it, but it was a very, very hard season. And I can see where the Lord has worked on me in that. And I have learned to find joy in just here, in my home, in what my husband and I have created, in my family. I've learned to enjoy cooking. Y'all, I didn't grow up knowing how to cook. Well, I did, but it was like hamburger helper, fried bologna. Hamburger helper if mom got paid. Uh, Fried bologna and egg sandwiches. But y'all know what I'm saying. Like I didn't have that. And so when my husband and I first got together, it was a thing that made me nervous because his mom is a fantastic cook. And everything was homemade and made from scratch. And I didn't know how to do any of those things. And so I've grown to enjoy it. I've grown to love it. And that's one of those things that fills me up. I love serving my family in that way. It makes me happy. I like making mostly good food for my family to eat. And another way that I have learned to enjoy doing what needs to be done here is turning on some tunes while I'm doing the things that I hate doing, like scrubbing toilets and my 17th load of laundry and wiping down baseboards, all that stuff. We will put on music. My daughter and I both, we put on music and we just knock it out. We just do what we've got to do, and that makes it more enjoyable. And this is a thing I have told my daughter. It's not necessarily the task that you're doing that's more enjoyable. It's your attitude towards the task that makes it more enjoyable. And as those words have come out of my mouth to her, that's something that I've been like, yeah, and you need to remember that next time you have a bad attitude about something. It's not the task, it's the attitude towards the task. So, yeah, I don't really love scrubbing toilets and cleaning baseboards, but if you got to do it, you might as well put on some good music and, try and have a good attitude about it. This is another big one for me is and it's going to change over the years because sticking points are going to look different. But a perfect example of kind of this tip or this way that I care for myself and my soul. Hunting season is coming up. And so it's going to be busy. Like all weekend, we're going to be busy. We're going to be in and out. Things will be going on at different times and all of that kind of stuff. Last year, I learned I have a terrible time cooking dinner at 7:00 at night because it's 7:00 at night and I'm hungry. I was hungry 3 hours ago and now I'm home. Nothing has been taken out of the freezer because I wasn't home. And so that was like, yep, nope, gonna have to figure out something for next year. So what I am doing is making freezer meals ahead of time. Once a week or like every time I get groceries, I try and get enough for one freezer meal. So I'm not trying to do all of it all at one time, but I am slowly working towards that. That is very much how I have tried to kind of work things out over the last couple of years, is to plan and prepare for those times that I know are going to be sticking points. Like, I know this is going to be an area that is going to cause me a little bit of stress or a little bit of worry. And so what can I do to plan and prepare for it ahead of time to hopefully kind of ease me through that and just take one less thing off of my list? You can't do that with everything. I understand that. But for those things that you know, or again, just this could be totally just a me thing, but those things that I know, I try and kind of plan what I can, prepare ahead of time. If nothing else, just mental preparation. Just sometimes I just got to talk myself up. It's going to be fine. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. You know, it'll all work out or whatever. When the time comes that I am in a moment of overwhelm, you know, I quickly went from I know what's going to happen to I have no idea what's going to happen, but I do know there are 37 things on my list and I cannot keep up with them in my brain. And so what I have to do is write them all down. I physically have to write down what is happening in my brain, because as a mom and a wife and a daughter and you know, all the things as a human, there are so many things that I have to keep keep track with up here, that it's very hard to decipher through all of them. And then throw in like you moving quickly and stress and worry and all the things, it doesn't cause for a very productive atmosphere. So I just write them down. And y'all, the things that happen when I take what is happening in my brain and I physically see them written down on a piece of paper, it's like, all right, cool, I got this. Like, it's literally like that. As soon as it's all written down, it's no big deal. Depending on the situation, sometimes I will prioritize those and I will try and work through them, you know, most important to least important. That way it doesn't, the things that are most important, I'm getting those done right away. And so that's a big chunk of stress and worry that's off. And then just as I kind of go through the day or, you know, the week, again, depending on the situation, it's reduced. Every time I take something off, I'm like, wow, okay, that was a big thing, that's done. That's a big thing, that's done. And then by the time it's over with, it's all over with and everything has been checked off. And now I feel better. I got that instant feel better when I wrote it all down, but now I've actually worked through all the things and I've gotten all of those things accomplished. Now, the last thing for me that I really could come up with, you know, kind of this self-care, soul care. And as you see, like mine are just kind of everyday things because again, I don't know, like there's not a lot of outside things that I find like enjoyment or relaxation in or things like that. Like every once in a while, yes, but there's not like a consistent thing that I need in order to fill up my cup. You know what I mean? Outside of obviously prayer and, you know, that relationship with the Lord, but you know what I'm saying? Just those outside things. However, there are times, and my husband and I have talked about this, that we need reconnection. Both my husband and I, and my husband and my daughter, because there are times where their relationship puts us, the condition of their relationship puts a strain on me at times. He's been at work a lot, and so she is feeling frustrated by that, and she is feeling the effects of not having dad home as often, or the schedule being changed, or things like that. And so that tension of that relationship, I can feel that. And that's not something I can control or that I can manage outside of just helping her work through that. And then obviously conversation with my husband. So in order to kind of help eliminate that, or not eliminate it, because that's never really going to go away, but just to kind of help rekindle that relationship and just kind of get her back on track, you know, they, once a month, the two of them will go do something together, and it is whatever they want that to look like. Some months it's all we can get in is like they go grab ice cream at the store together, and then other times it's they will go on, you know, a full daddy-daughter dinner date it looks different. But I think that time is important for them too. But then also for me too. We have talked about how my husband and I need that reconnecting time. And so same thing, once a month, my husband and I will do something. And it looks different every month. I don't need a week-long vacation in Hawaii every year. Would that be nice? No, y'all, I don't want to go to Hawaii every year. I would like to go like eventually, but I don't need to go every year. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need anything extravagant. Sure, I would love once a year if he and I were able to do kind of a larger vacation, just he and I, and maybe we'll get there eventually. But for now, sometimes I just need he and I to just get me out of the house. Once a month, let's you and I go somewhere and get out of the house. And that fills up my cup. I love my husband, and I love my daughter. And so those relationships being in, I don't want to say in good standing, but just being connected and nurturing those relationships intentionally, it helps tremendously, especially with how things function at home and all of that stuff. We are just in a season where we kind of have to be intentional with those things because my husband is so busy and I am starting to get into a busy season. And so we have to be intentional with that reconnection time. And that's what self-care looks like for me. I would love to know kind of your thoughts and your opinions, I think, kind of on what does self-care look like to you guys? Don't forget to check the playlist in the description below. I'm wondering if maybe I'll get some better ideas from other people. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Like maybe I should go get press-on nails. Maybe it would make me feel fancier or something. I don't know. I will say this. I did finally buy myself a new curling iron. I got my hair cut and I told myself I was going to get myself a new curling iron so that I would actually curl my hair a little bit more. This is another thing. Speaking of the curling iron, I have started to get dressed every day. Well, yeah, every day I get dressed. I would say 9 times out of 10, I try to get dressed every day. Now, the level of dressed varies. Some days it's what's happening right now, which is just like a pair of leggings, a big comfy t-shirt, and just a little foundation and a little mascara. And then other days, like I want to wear a comfy dress with my hair curled and a little more makeup on. But I have found that I am more productive and it works better for me if I just give a little bit of extra to myself in the morning. But yeah, not lounging around in my jammies every day certainly has helped. But anyways, I guess that was an extra tip. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.